Bray, home of Bray Wanderers FC, a local football club who've just been relegated from the First Division in Irish football. Bray Wanderers Football Club was founded in 1942. They play at the Carlisle Grounds, which is located in Bray, County Wicklow in Ireland. In 1922, some members of St. Kevin's Gaelic Football Club left due to a dispute and formed a soccer club called Bray Wanderers. Bray went on and won the Miller Cup, which at the time was the most prestigious junior cup in Ireland. Bray Wanderers played in the League of Ireland for 19 seasons, from the 1924-25 season to the 1943-44 season. In 1951, Bray Wanderers started a 10-year streak of good form, where they were FAI Intermediate Cup winners and the FAI Junior Cup winners twice. Over the next 34 years, Bray Wanderers would win the Leinster Senior League 3 times in a row and were a steady club in their own league. In 1985, Bray Wanderers were elected to the League of Ireland when the divisions were expanded. They played their first game as a League of Ireland football club on the 8th of September 1985 against Dundalk in the FAI League Cup. Bray Wanderers would stay in that league for some time. They won the FAI Cup in the 1990-91 season, where John Ryan became the second player to score a hat-trick in the FAI Cup final.
Still he's there, and Ryan. And still it's Ryan, and the shot brings the goal! A superb individual goal by John Ryan, and a goal worthy of winning a cup. The top scorer in the Premier section of the First Division of the League of Ireland, John Ryan of Bray Wanderers gets his second cup final goal. It was great play by McDermott to set it up, but look at this by Ryan. He rode the challenge so well, and when he'd seen what was on for him, he sized it up and he curled it superbly out of Matthew's reach. High into the top corner, the keeper had no chance. A great goal by John Ryan, and Bray are now 2-0 up.
Despite this FAI Cup final win, Bray Wanderers would struggle in the league for years to come. Due to the FAI Cup win, Bray Wanderers competed in a European competition for the first time, yet were beaten in the qualifiers by Trabzonspor.
And this is the reason why Bray Wanderers are in Europe for the very first time, and the youngsters of Bray Wanderers Football Club parade the FAI Cup, won for the first time by the team from North Wicklow, at a trophy success, which means they meet Trabzonspor of Turkey in their European debut. 8 of these saw places for themselves in the starting lineup at Lansdowne Road in May. The exceptions: Clem McCauley, a recent acquisition from Finn Harps, though he knows this ground well, having been with Home Farm, Derek Corcoran, and of course Alan Smith, who was suspended for that FAI Cup final. Trabzonspor's lineup includes 3 men who played against Ireland in the friendly match in Izmir before the World Cup. Ogun, Kemal, their captain, and their million-pound man, Unal. White striped kit. Set in motion, history is made as the whistle of the Belgian referee, Michel Pirot from the town of Mons, gets this underway. Floated by Unal. Bo McKeever going up. Lukic's shot. Oh, what a goal! Just 2 minutes on the clock, and Trabzonspor's first attack brings the opening goal of the contest. Bray's defence had not been tested.
For the next 9 years, Bray Wanderers kept getting relegated and promoted from the Premier Division. They won their second FAI Cup in the 1999-2000 season.
Good save, but here's the chance. Harps have got in front. Jonathan Speak. Jason Byrne made his way into the penalty area. Mick Doohan is there as well. And there's a chance. It's 1-1. Jason Byrne. Speak a little short with the pass there to Harkin. And this time it's Bray who are in, and this time it's Jason Byrne, and this time Bray have taken the lead for the first time in this three-match series. A really special moment in the history of Bray Wanderers Football Club.
And will play European football once again. They played against a grasshopper side that was led by the infamous Roy Hodgson, but would ultimately end up losing that match. In the 2000-2001 season, Bray Wanderers would get their highest league finish in the Premier Division, finishing 4th in the league. Bray Wanderers still kept getting relegated and promoted until 2006, where they would ultimately end up staying in the Premier Division for 12 years, until this year, 2018, when a disgraceful relegation occurred. The relegation was horrible. Bray Wanderers always had financial troubles, but never something this bad. The owner at the time, Gary Mulvey, was unable to pay the players' wages as the club was in debt. These financial issues led to players having to pay for their own surgery and eventually led to players leaving the club. On July 3rd, 2018, the club stated that the club was in debt and would be listening to any offers for any of their players. This was because of the club's inability to guarantee wages until the end of the 2017-18 season. Bray Wanderers also faced some match-fixing allegations, in which the FAI would investigate. The FAI investigated the friendly match where Bray Wanderers played Waterford at the Carlisle grounds. The police questioned players at the club and took their mobile phones, but there was insufficient evidence to bring any charges to Bray Wanderers. Hugh Douglas, a fullback who has been with Bray Wanderers since the 2014 season and has won the Young Player of the Year and Player of the Year for Bray Wanderers, was one of the squad members who had to pay for their own surgery. He recently went on a football talk show called Off the Ball to talk about the situation he was in.
Comedy from Off the Ball Towers here in Dublin Marconi House, just off Stephen's Green. Lovely, fantastic, sunny Wednesday. It's Jamie Moore here, and we're very happy to welcome a very big man to the studio. It's Bray Wanderers defender Hughie Douglas. Hughie, hello, how are you?
Thanks for having me, Jamie.
Great stuff, thanks a million for coming in. Now, we've just spoken there about Shamrock Rovers and Bray Wanderers in a massive game for both clubs this Friday. Unfortunately, you won't be playing in it. Just give us the background to your most recent injury. It's a second serious knee injury, and you're a little bit post-operation now, middle of rehab, and aiming to be back for the start of next season, hopefully.
Yeah, I tore my ACL for a second time, different knee, luckily. I was saying to my surgeon there last week, this season is over for me, and I kind of accepted that a few weeks ago.
The injury happened in training?
Yeah, it was in training on the AstroTurf. I planted my foot and went to turn, and my knee gave out. It was non-contact. And yeah, I was sent for an MRI the following day with a club, and yeah, the results showed that it was an ACL tear.
A couple of days after that, you had the operation. Talk me through that process, because it was a big news story at the time that the club at the time didn't pay for it. Yeah,
it was well documented that the club was going through a tough time, and myself and John Sullivan were left in a pretty awful predicament that there was no money there to pay for the operations. Now, me and John had to find other resources to get the money to pay for the operations. We did. A few weeks went by. It was out in the media, and I think that had to be done to get the actions in place to get the players paid first and obviously be reimbursed the operations. But no, that I've not won the whole grudges, not whatsoever. That was done. Everything's in the process now of me and John being reimbursed everything we're owed, which is great. And we can only take the chairman's word that no debt will be left unpaid. So we can only take his word for that.
The club was said to be in financial distress in the 2017 season. But according to the players of Bray Wanderers at the time, the financial problems had been dealt with for that year. Despite 2 sixth-place finishes in the previous 2 seasons and a push for Europe, the club fell apart in the 2018 season. Finishing bottom of the Electricity League with 28 losses, the club was surrounded by controversy throughout the whole season. The players were going to go on a player strike, but wages were paid last minute. The club was in a total mess. On July 27th, 2018, a man by the name of Niall O'Driscoll bought Bray Wanderers. Niall O'Driscoll is a partner in the insurance firm O'Driscoll O'Neill, who covers football clubs all around the country. He is heavily involved with schoolboy club Josephs, who have had a long-standing partnership with Bray Wanderers. He owns 51% of Bray Wanderers and has completely changed the club. He seems to be making the club much better. I contacted him through Facebook to request an interview, where I would ask him questions about him taking over the club. To my surprise, I scored an interview with him.
So where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Greystones, but we live in Abu Dhabi. So, should I start with the question?
You keep talking.
Okay. Why did you decide to buy Bray Wanderers?
Why did I decide to Bray Wanderers? As I said to you earlier, I'm involved in schoolboy football for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
And in a large schoolboy club called St. Joseph's, which would be one of the top 2 or 3 in the country.
Yeah.
So Joseph's had a connection with Bray Wanderers for many years. Now the kids came through the St. Joseph's setup, ended up playing for Bray,
Yeah.
and going into the UK and whatever. So it was a pathway basically for kids who want to play professional football or top level football.
Okay.
Bray Wanderers has been in the news and quite controversial for the last 4 or 5 years. More down to, I suppose, a property play, where people invest in the club, you know, with one eye on the whole property development with the Lewis and the Dart and all that. So property is quite valuable, obviously, in Ireland at the moment. And as a result of a couple of years of, I suppose, mismanagement and bad spending, they ended up going bust. Well, I say going bust. They were 24 hours away from going bust. And myself and the brother who were involved in football decided we'd buy Bray the following day. So that's how I've ended up being a reluctant owner of a National League football club. But from a football point of view, I suppose the heart made the decision and the head was contradicting the heart.
Okay. So can I get your thoughts and reflections on how Bray Wanderers are doing, like preparing for the season?
Yeah, well, we're only in this, about 4 months now. So I suppose really we've spent the first 3 months cleaning it up. You know, cleaning up the stadium.
You're re-signing players.
Well, the first thing we did is we got rid of every player. The biggest challenge to us is to change the culture and turn it into what we call a proper football club. And wherever that ends up, it will end up. You know, unfortunately, the season didn't go well for them. They got relegated to the first division. So it's a good opportunity to rebuild the club. So everyone who was involved in Bray previously is no longer here, and we basically brought in new people, we brought in new players, and we've tidied up the ground, and we've done a lot of maintenance and made the ground fit for purpose. So that's where we're sort of at. Obviously the last month is preparing for pre-season. And it's a matter of signing players at the moment to get a squad that will compete at that level.
I've been following a fan account, and I'm seeing all the transfers. Should this be exciting times?
It's exciting. See, we have a very strong academy under 8 setup. You know, which had been working despite Bray's troubles. The link with St. Joseph's ran the National League Academy at under 19, 17, 15. So we have a very strong academy set up. So a lot of talented kids, probably a little bit too young yet to progress. And so we're using that with a combination of experienced players to build the team next year. And what you're seeing, you're quite right. What you're seeing is a lot of activity of us signing players. And the strategy has been to sign 3 or 4 very experienced players with the right value system. And we've been very lucky to do that with fellas like Paul Keegan and Hughie Douglas and these. So these would be very good players. And we're using a mix of that talent with the young talent we have.
Yeah.
And hopefully that over time will get us where we want to go.
Yeah, of course. Here, I have a. So, do you think Bray Wanderers will get promoted anytime soon, or
I hope so.
you just have to build up?
I hope so. I'd love to say they'll be straight back up next year, but
Yeah,
we're a realist. At least I'd be realistic. The main purpose will be sustainability of the club. That's the first priority.
Yeah.
That it is sustainable in the long term.
Yeah.
On the football front, you know, people will say money will deliver in football. It doesn't always.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's a matter of really just getting the players and the team. We're quite lucky. We have a very talented young manager.
Yeah.
You know, who's,
Gary Cronin, right?
Yeah, Gary would be regarded as one of the brightest young coaches in the country.
Has he managed before though?
Not managed. No, this is his first full management post. He's
Yeah.
been assistant manager in Longford. He's been coached at various different levels. He was a professional footballer over in.
Yeah,
it didn't work out for him, but hey, that's all part of the experience.
Yeah.
And we're sort of hoping he'll bring that to work with young players, because really what we want to do is have a manager who communicate with young developing players.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a learning experience for Gary,
Yeah.
as it is for myself.
Yeah.
And the players, but yeah, it's exciting times.
Okay. So, what has been the players' response from you taking over?
I think the players' response has been positive, because, well, certainly for the existing players,
Yeah.
and a lot who aren't here anymore,
Yeah.
I suppose they got clarity, and
Yeah.
there was a little bit of security in the club, which obviously wasn't there for a long time. Which, when you're a footballer, I suppose, if the club is unstable and the management and you're not getting paid wages, it's quite difficult to focus on the job, whether that's football or otherwise.
Yeah.
I think what they've got now is very clear sense of purpose. The value systems and the culture are very defined here now, are very high standards expected, so it's easier to focus and spend their time on focusing on the football development rather than the distractions that are going around.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll be a benefit to everybody.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but time will tell.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
I've got one more question for you.
No problem.
So obviously you talked about the youth system. Do you think it's a shining light? Like the best thing about Bray Wanderers is the youth system?
It probably is if you compare it to other National League clubs.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, the fact that we have the experience of St. Joseph's as underage development, which were probably one of the most successful clubs for the last 10-15 years.
Yeah.
And you know, that is a huge bonus. Will it help it? Maybe not, but I think it'll just speed it up. You know, I think it'll speed up the potential. Like I'm looking at our under 19s and 17s, now probably just about a year off playing for the first team.
Yeah.
Mind you, last year we had 9 under 17s who played for the first team.
Oh, yeah.
Only because of the circumstances.
Yeah.
Because there's transfer embargoes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So where probably there's about 3 or 4 players on the current 19s who certainly would have no issue stepping up to the first team.
Okay.
You know, and that with the experienced players there we've signed, you know, it should be exciting stuff.
Okay, I know I said that last question was the final question,
Yeah.
but now I've got a question asking about you.
Yeah.
Why did you get into football? Was it a player or was it a club?
Why did I get into football?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I came from a family of 1 of 6 children. My parents are all from Belfast,
Okay.
and they were all into sport.
Yeah.
My mother's side were into judo, swimming. My father's side were into golf, tennis, and all of that. And so we were all big into sport.
Yeah.
You know, and I started playing football years ago. When you started playing football, you didn't play it a lot later. You didn't start till about 12, 13.
Yeah.
And I played underage football at 13 and 14, and probably was one of the worst footballers in the country. But I just loved football.
Yeah.
So I gave up football when I was 14,
Yeah.
and I took up coaching.
Okay.
And I've been coaching underage football since then.
Oh, okay.
You know, and Timmy, my brother, who's involved obviously with me here, Timmy was probably luckier than me. He wasn't as good as coaching, but he played for Shamrock Rovers.
Oh, really?
At first team level. He also played Dublin Gaelic for 6 years for Dublin. You know, and now he's big into horse racing and all sorts of stuff. So we're just into sport.
Yeah.
And we get great crack out of it. One of the best things out of sport you talk about when you get started is the friends you make.
Yeah.
If I look back, you know, and there's 100 fellas coaching teams in Joe's, you know,
Yeah.
there's 10, 20 here. fabulous friends. Yeah. You know, and it's not a bad lifestyle. It beats the chasing young ladies and discos and all that sort of stuff. You know, it gives you half a decent value. You know. Yeah. But so that's it. I don't know if that's answered your question. Yeah.
Niall O'Driscoll seemed very passionate and considerate when performing the whole interview, making jokes while I asked him questions and answering every question in a sincere manner. As you could see in the interview, Niall O'Driscoll was completely aware of the situation Bray Wanderers was in, and realised the steps he would have to take in order to make the club a better place. Him and his brother saw there was mismanagement in the club and decided to take over the club 24 hours before it went bust, according to Niall. Niall O'Driscoll says when getting interviewed, the heart made the decision. Niall O'Driscoll says when getting interviewed, the heart made the decision, and the head was contradicting the heart. This shows a lot about his love for the club, and that he knows that the situation they are in isn't good, but he wouldn't have bought the club if he didn't think he could make it a better place. Niall O'Driscoll wants to clean up the stadium first, then change the culture of the club. As he says many times in the interview, the youth system is very important to Bray Wanderers, and thinks that Bray Wanderers' youth system is better than most in their division. Over the next season, he would like to see Bray Wanderers go straight back up, with the talented young manager in Gary Cronin and lots of new signings. That looks like a real possibility. Recovering this club and getting back up from this disgraceful relegation is a must in the next 5 years. Bray Wanderers needs to come back and even start pushing for Europe again. The young manager can communicate to the players of the club as he understands what they are going through. Bray Wanderers have a straightforward owner, Bray Wanderers have experienced players, and most importantly, Bray Wanderers has a fan base. As Niall O'Driscoll mentions in the interview, fans are important to a football club. In fact, anyone under the age of 14 is allowed to watch Bray Wanderers play at home for free. This is to get a younger fan base and a larger fan base. I wanted to understand what a fan of Bray Wanderers thought of Niall O'Driscoll taking over Bray Wanderers and the recent financial problems. So I decided to talk to a fan who's an owner of an Instagram fan page, and I asked these questions to him. Why do you support Bray Wanderers? He answered, they are my local League of Ireland team. Has it been difficult being a fan of Bray Wanderers amidst all the problems they've gone through? He answered, yes, it has been a difficult few years alright, with avoiding relegation in previous seasons and then finding out players weren't getting paid with our previous owners. But that's all cleared up now, so on to the future. What are your expectations of the new season? Do you think Gary Cronin is the right man for the... He answered, my expectations for the new season is to get promoted back into the Premier Division. So ideally to win the First Division, and yes, I do think Gary is the right man for the job, as he is a clean slate and he's young and eager to win games. Do you think the Bray Wanderers youth system is a shining light of Bray Wanderers? He answered, yes, I do think the academy is a stepping stone towards the first team. You have to look at Jake Ellis, who came through the youth team and has started a number of times this season, and Enda Minogue, who started against Dundalk with Evan Moran, the first keeper being out injured. In 5 years' time, what would you want Bray Wanderers to be doing? He answered, in 5 years' time, I just want them to be in the Premier Division, fighting for a European spot. It'd be great to have Europa League or Champions League matches back at the Carlisle. What's been a highlight of being a Bray Wanderers fan? He answered, the fun that you have on away days is probably second to none. All the lads in the supporters club are very genuine and welcoming. I've been a supporter since I was about 7 years old, but only decided to join the supporters club when I was 15. And since then I've met some people who have been welcoming and makes Bray feel like a family club. What's been the lowest point for you when supporting Bray Wanderers? He answered, Finding out that the players weren't being paid this summer, and the club saying it might not exist in the future due to financial troubles. And also, relegation this season was another low point. Are you excited about the new owners of Bray Wanderers? He answered, yes. Since the O'Driscoll brothers have come in, I think everyone around Bray and in the local areas have been excited as they've introduced a new Bray to people. For example, every kid is free in next season. Season tickets are also cheaper. Toilets have been redone and also a new food company has been introduced at the Carl grounds. They have also gone and signed deals with Lifestyle Sports and Matt Britton Carpets, which is very promising for the years ahead. Bray Wanderers have forgotten their past and look into a brighter future. A future where they can be fighting for a European spot in the Airtricity League. The financial problems seem to be forgotten, and a successful future looks like it's on its way. Having talked to the owner of the club and getting insight of what a member of the fan club thinks about Bray Wanderers' future, I think it's safe to say that it will be a successful future. Niall O'Driscoll seems to have a straightforward plan and doesn't plan on going into debt anytime soon. The situation is improving, and Niall O'Driscoll wouldn't have taken over the club if he didn't think he could turn this club around.